The first time the alien child reached for his food, the entire galaxy started watching. Not because of the child, because of the man. No one expected anything from him. Not the city, not the world, and certainly not the stars. But that was the mistake. Daniel had nothing. At 32 years old, his life was a quiet kind of struggle that nobody noticed. By day, he worked construction under a burning sun. By night, he cleaned offices where people earned in 1 hour what he made in a week. 2 jobs. No breaks. No future. And still it wasn't enough. Every afternoon, he sat on the same cracked wooden bench in the same forgotten park. No phone. No music. Just silence. And a brown paper bag. Inside it, one sandwich. That was his only meal. He didn't rush it. He never did. He ate slowly, like stretching time itself, watching pigeons fight over crumbs and strangers pass like ghosts. For a few minutes, the world felt softer. Then one day, everything changed. It started quietly. 3 figures stood at a distance. Small. Still. Watching. At first, Daniel thought they were just kids. Lost maybe. Hungry for sure. But something felt off. Their skin had a faint blue tint. Their eyes were too large, too deep. Their ears, long and sharp like something out of a dream. Or a nightmare. The city had seen aliens before. 5 years ago, they came in waves. Refugees from collapsing worlds. Survivors of wars humans couldn't even understand. But they weren't welcome. People crossed the street to avoid them. Shops refused service. Children were pulled away, like they carried disease. Aliens learned quickly. Stay quiet. Stay invisible. Or suffer. The 3 children didn't beg. They didn't speak. They just stood there, staring at the sandwich in Daniel's hands. Hungry. Not pretending. Not acting. Real hunger. The kind that hollowed your bones. Daniel looked at them for a long moment. Then, without a word, he tore his sandwich into 4 uneven pieces. 1 for each of them. And 1 for himself. The smallest child stepped forward first. A girl. Barefoot. Thin. Her hands trembled as she took the piece. The others followed. They ate fast. Too fast. Like food might disappear if they slowed down. Daniel watched them quietly. Then he ate his small piece. No speech. No questions. Just sharing. The next day they came back. Same time. Same place. Same silence. Same hunger. Daniel didn't hesitate. Again, he split his sandwich. 4 pieces. 3 for them. 1 for him. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into something else. A routine. They never asked his name. He never asked theirs. They never explained where they came from. He never pushed. Every afternoon, the same ritual. Food. Silence. Presence. It became normal. Too normal. But the world didn't ignore it. One evening, a coworker saw Daniel packing extra food. He laughed. Still feeding those alien rats, he said loudly. You know they're not even human, right? Daniel didn't respond. Waste of money, the man added. They'll probably rob you one day. Still no answer. Daniel just closed the bag and walked away. The next day, he brought more food. One afternoon, the smallest girl finally spoke. Her voice was soft. Broken. Why, you give. Daniel looked at her tired eyes, at the dirt on her face, at the way she held the food like it mattered more than anything. He smiled. Because you're hungry, he said. That's enough. The girl stared at him like he had said something impossible, something no one had ever told her before. But Daniel didn't know something. Something important. Something dangerous. He was not alone. High above the park, on the rooftop of an old building, a figure stood in complete stillness. Watching. Always watching. Tall. Silent. Unmoving. Blue skin. Darker than the children's. Eyes glowing faint silver in the shadows. Not a child. Not weak. Not harmless. Every day, it observed. Every movement Daniel made. Every piece of food he gave away. Every smile. Every sacrifice. Recorded. Analyzed. Judged. And Daniel had no idea. Months passed. The children slowly changed. They spoke a little more. smiled a little easier, ate a little slower. The smallest girl began to hug him when he arrived. The boy started drawing strange symbols in the dirt. The oldest girl watched everything. Always watching. Always thinking. One rainy afternoon, Daniel finally learned their names.
Kira, Theo,
Mara. Simple names. But something about them didn't feel simple. Still, Daniel never asked questions. Not about their past. Not about their home. Not about why 3 alien children were alone in a world that hated them. He just showed up. Every single day. But there was a cost. A hidden one. Daniel stopped eating dinner. Then breakfast. Then anything outside that single sandwich. All his money went to feeding them.
rice, bread,
Fruit. Whatever he could afford. His body got thinner. His face sharper. His eyes more tired. But when he sat on that bench, he still smiled. Then one day, everything cracked. Daniel's phone rang. He stepped away to answer it. Just a minute. Maybe 2. But when he came back, he heard something that froze him in place.
Kira was speaking.
Not in broken English. Not slow. Not unsure. Fluent.
Perfect. Cold.
We need to be careful, she said quietly to Theo. If he sees the device, everything changes. Theo nodded. Mara almost used it yesterday. Kira's voice hardened. That cannot happen again. Daniel's breath caught. Device? What device? Then Kira turned. She saw him. And just like that, her entire expression changed. The confidence vanished. Her posture softened. Her voice broke again into that slow, clumsy tone. Daniel, you come. Food ready. Daniel sat down.
Slowly.
Silently. But inside, everything was spinning. They were pretending. The broken speech. The confusion. It was all fake. The question was,
why?
2 days later, he got his answer. Or, at least, the beginning of one. Daniel arrived early. Too early. The children weren't expecting him. And that's when he saw it. Mara was sitting under a tree, holding something in her hands. A small silver object. Flat.
Smooth.
Glowing faint blue from the inside. She waved her hand over it. And a rock lifted into the air. Daniel stopped breathing. The rock floated. Spun slowly. Like gravity had just given up. Mara giggled softly, controlling it like a toy. Like it was normal. Then she saw him. Her face went pale. The device disappeared behind her back. The rock dropped. Silence. Daniel, you early today, she said in that same broken voice.
But now,
he knew. Daniel knelt in front of her. He looked at her small hands.
at the place where the device had been.
At her wide, scared eyes. He could have asked 1,000 questions. Demanded answers.
Panicked. Run.
But he didn't. He just said one thing. Mara, did you eat today? Her eyes filled with tears. Not fear. Something else. Something deeper. And in that moment, miles above the earth, hidden in the darkness of space, an entire alien fleet recorded his response. And for the first time, they hesitated, because something about this human didn't match any data they had ever seen. The moment Daniel chose not to ask, the test truly began. Far above Earth, hidden beyond satellites and human sight, hundreds of silent warships shifted position. Not to attack, to observe, because now the human had seen too much. And still he stayed. That night, Daniel couldn't sleep. He lay on his thin mattress, staring at the cracked ceiling of his apartment. The floating rock replayed in his mind. The device. Kira's perfect voice.
The lie.
It was all a lie. Those children were not helpless. Not lost. Not what they seemed. But then another thought came. Stronger. He remembered Mara's tears. Not fear of being caught. Fear of losing him. Daniel closed his eyes. Does it matter? He whispered to himself. And somewhere deep inside, he already knew the answer. The next day, he went back to the bench.
Same time.
Same bag. Same quiet steps. The children were already there. Waiting. Watching him.
Carefully.
Daniel sat down. Opened the bag. Pulled out the food. And just like always, he tore it into 4 pieces. No questions. No tension. No accusations. Kira studied him closely. Too closely. You not ask, she said slowly. Daniel shrugged. You hungry? Kira didn't answer. Theo looked down. Mara squeezed Daniel's sleeve. And for the first time since he met them, something shifted.
Trust.
Real trust. That night, the figure on the rooftop finally spoke. Her voice echoed through a secure channel. Subject continues behavior pattern. No deviation. A pause. Then another voice responded.
Cold.
Calculated. Proceed to phase 2. Daniel's life began to collapse. It started small. His boss called him into the office. Didn't look him in the eyes. Budget cuts. That was it. For years of work. Gone in 10 seconds. Daniel didn't argue. Didn't beg. He just nodded and left. 2 days later, his landlord knocked. Rent doubled. No reason. No discussion. Pay or leave. A week later, his bank card stopped working. Frozen account. No explanation. No timeline. It didn't feel random. It felt targeted. Like invisible hands were slowly squeezing every part of his life. Waiting. Watching. But every afternoon, Daniel still went to the bench. The food changed. No more proper meals. Just bread. Cheap peanut butter. Sometimes nothing but dry crackers. But he never showed up empty-handed. Not once. You okay? Mara asked one day. Her voice soft. Her eyes searching his face. Daniel smiled. I'm great, he said. Try this. New recipe. She took the sandwich. But she didn't smile. Because now, she knew he was lying. That night, Kira couldn't take it anymore. Inside the hidden underground shelter, she activated the device. Not the small one Mara used. Something bigger. Stronger. A projection filled the room. Star maps. Signals. Encrypted channels. Kira searched.
Fast. Precise.
Her fingers moved like she had done this her entire life. Because she had. And then she found it. The truth. Her face went pale. Theo stepped closer. What is it? Kira didn't answer at first. Then she whispered, It's not humans. The pressure on Daniel. The job loss. The bank freeze. The rent. It wasn't random. It wasn't Earth. It's them, Kira said. Our people. Theo froze. No. Kira nodded slowly. They're testing him. Silence filled the room. Heavy. Cold. Unforgiving. Mara looked between them. Testing what? Kira swallowed. Everything. That same night, she stormed out of the shelter. She didn't care about hiding anymore. Didn't care about rules. Didn't care about consequences. She walked into the empty street, looked up at the rooftops, and shouted, I know you're there. Silence. Then, a figure dropped from the darkness, landing without a sound.
Tall.
Armored. Eyes glowing silver. A Zerithian soldier. Kira stepped forward, anger shaking her voice. You're hurting him. No reaction. He's starving. He lost everything. Still nothing. That's the point, the soldier said calmly. Kira froze.
What?
The test requires total loss. Kira's hands clenched. This wasn't part of the mission. We were supposed to hide. The soldier looked at her.
Long.
Unmoving. Then she spoke one word. Princess. Everything stopped. Kira's breath caught. No. You were not hiding, the soldier continued. You were placed. Theo and Mara stepped out from the shadows behind her, hearing everything. Your father designed this, the soldier said. Emperor Zerith IV. Mara shook her head. No, that's not true. It is, the soldier replied. 47 planets. 47 tests. She stepped closer. And this human is the only one still standing. Silence. Kira turned slowly, looking toward the park.
Toward the bench.
Toward the man who gave away everything he had without ever asking why. He's going to die, she whispered. The soldier didn't blink. Then we will have our answer. Kira felt something break inside her. Something she had believed her entire life. That strength meant power. That leadership meant control. That worth meant status. But Daniel had none of that. And still, he kept choosing them. The next weeks got worse. Much worse. Daniel lost his apartment. No warning. No time. Just gone. A friend let him stay for 2 nights. Then suddenly changed his mind. Wouldn't even open the door. Now Daniel lived in his car. A rusted old vehicle parked behind an abandoned gas station. No bed. No heat. No safety. But every afternoon, he walked to the bench.
Rain. Cold. Pain.
Didn't matter. He still brought food. One morning, he counted his money. $22. That was everything. He stood in a grocery store, staring at the shelves.
Bread.
Peanut butter. 3 apples. Crackers. Total, $19.80. He paid, walked out, with nothing left for himself. That same day, he started coughing. Bad.
Deep. Wet.
His shoulder, injured months ago, had gotten worse. Infected. Every movement sent pain through his body like fire. But when Mara ran to him, he still smiled. That was the moment Kira made her decision. That night, she activated a healing crystal. A powerful one, enough to save his life. She programmed it. Set coordinates. Daniel's car. Midnight. But seconds before it appeared, the soldier intercepted it. No interference, she said. Kira's voice broke. He will die. The soldier didn't move. Then the test ends. Kira had never felt hatred like this before. Not for humans. Not for enemies. But for her own people. And far above, on a massive flagship hidden behind the moon, an emperor watched everything. Daniel collapsing. Daniel starving. Daniel still choosing others over himself. For the first time in centuries, the emperor leaned forward. Because something about this human was no longer just data. It was something else. Something rare. Something dangerous. Something the galaxy had never truly understood. And the worst part? The test wasn't even halfway done. The final test was never about survival.
It was about choice.
And the entire galaxy was about to witness it. Daniel was dying. There was no dramatic moment. No warning sound. No sudden collapse. Just a slow, quiet fading. His body had nothing left to give. The cough got worse. The pain in his shoulder spread through his chest. His vision blurred more often. And still, every afternoon, he walked to the bench. That day, he almost didn't make it. His legs trembled with every step. His breath came short and uneven. But when he saw them,
Kira. Theo. Mara.
waiting, he smiled. Like always. Look what I got today, he said softly. He opened his jacket. Inside, hospital food. Wrapped carefully in napkins. Stolen. Mara laughed. Theo grabbed the bread. Kira took the juice but didn't drink it. She just stared at him. Because now she could see it clearly.
Death.
Standing right behind him. That night, the Emperor made his decision. On the flagship, silence filled the massive chamber. Generals stood still. Advisors waited. No one dared speak. Finally, Emperor Zirith rose from his throne. His silver eyes locked onto the image of Daniel on the screen.
Thin. Broken.
Still giving. One more test, he said. A ripple moved through the room.
Concern. Doubt.
Even fear. He will not survive another, one advisor said carefully. The Emperor didn't look away. That, he replied, is why it matters. And so, they offered him the one thing no being had ever resisted. The truth. That night, two figures approached Daniel's car. They looked human. But they weren't. Daniel rolled down the window slowly. His hands weak. His eyes tired. We know about the children, one of them said. Daniel said nothing. They are not refugees, the other added. They are royalty. Silence. Heirs to the largest empire in the galaxy. Daniel's chest tightened. But he stayed calm. They are worth more than everything on this planet combined. A pause. Then, tell us where they hide. The first agent stepped closer. We will give you everything. A small device lit up. A number appeared. So big, it didn't feel real. You will never be hungry again. Never be cold again. Never suffer again. Daniel looked at the number. then at his car, then at his empty hands. His entire life could change in one sentence. But he didn't answer yet. Instead, he asked one question. If I tell you, will they be safe? The agents hesitated. Just for a second. But it was enough. Daniel nodded slowly, then leaned back.
No. Silence.
You are choosing death, one of them said. Daniel closed his eyes. I've been choosing that for a long time, he replied quietly. He rolled up the window. And that was the end of it. High above, the Emperor closed his eyes. It's over, he said. We found him. The next morning, the sky disappeared. At first, people thought it was clouds, then shadows, then something else. Ships.
Hundreds of them.
Covering the sky like a second world. Cities froze. Cars stopped. Phones lit up. Every screen on Earth turned on at once. A voice spoke.
Calm. Clear.
We come in peace for Daniel. The world stopped breathing. And in a broken parking lot, Daniel stepped out of his car and looked up. He couldn't understand it. His mind refused, until he heard a voice behind him. Daniel. He turned.
Kira stood there.
But not the Kira he knew. She wore silver armor, her posture strong, her eyes clear. Theo stood beside her.
Calm.
Focused. And Mara ran to him.
Crying.
I'm sorry, she said over and over. Daniel held her gently, the same way he always had. What's going on? He whispered. Kira stepped forward, her voice steady. My name is Princess Kira Zareth, she said. Daniel blinked. These are my siblings. Prince Theo. Princess Mara. The ground seemed to shift beneath him. Our father, she paused, is the Emperor. Daniel looked at the sky, at the ships, at the impossible reality in front of him, and somehow, he believed her. A beam of golden light touched the ground, and from it, a giant stepped forward, 9 feet tall, eyes of pure silver, presence like gravity itself. Emperor Zareth IV, the most powerful being in the galaxy, walked toward a starving man. Every soldier stood still. Every voice went silent. And then, the Emperor bowed. Not slightly, not symbolically, fully. To Daniel. You fed my children when you were starving, he said. You protected them when you were broken. You refused everything when you had nothing.
Daniel couldn't speak.
The Emperor extended his hand. A small glowing crystal rested in his palm. Become their guardian, he said. Leave this world. Join us among the stars. Daniel looked at the crystal, then at the children. Kira, strong but hopeful. Theo, quiet but certain. Mara, holding his hand tightly. Then he looked at Earth, at his broken car, at the life he was leaving behind. He took a breath
and reached forward.
The crystal dissolved into light, flowed into his body, burned through him, then healed everything. The pain vanished. The weakness disappeared. The hunger, gone. Daniel stood taller, stronger, changed. A glowing mark appeared over his heart, a symbol of stars. The Emperor smiled. Rise, guardian. And Daniel did. That day, Earth changed forever. Not because of the ships, not because of the power, but because of a truth the galaxy had finally learned. Humans were not the strongest, not the smartest,
not the most advanced.
But they had something no empire could create. They could care, even when it cost them everything. Years later, far from Earth, on a quiet observation deck, 4 figures sat on a bench. Daniel,
Kira, Theo,
Mara. He pulled out a sandwich, tore it into 4 pieces. Some things never changed. And as stars stretched endlessly before them, one simple truth remained. In a universe of power, the rarest force of all was a human heart that refused to stop giving.